Hello and welcome. Step into my lounge, get comfortable and grab your favorite beverage. You're listening to the Secret Vibe Show, the space where we explore your V for your vision, your I for your intention, your B for your beliefs, and your E for your expectation. All within the realms of relationship, dating, and spirituality. And to get you in the right frame of mind, I want you to, right now, ask yourself, what do I want? To snap you into a mode of attracting in what you desire. I'm your host, Valerie Alaeve Campbell. Yes, my full name. I know it sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but that is my full name. Now, some of you may know me as Valerie A. Campbell. Now, you know that the A stands for Alaeve. And there is a story around that. And you're probably wondering, well, what's changed? Well, a lot. And it's all good. This is me standing more fully in my truth, in my name, in my vibe, my vibration. And Alaeve is a name that carries meaning. It was given to me whilst my mother was pregnant with me. My dad had a dream that I would be a girl and that I should be called Alaeve. So it carries meaning. Allah, referring to God, and Eve, first woman, divine feminine. And so it's about divine alignment for me. So from this point forward, I'm embracing it, just as I'm inviting you to embrace all of who you are. Because part of being a high value woman is no longer shrinking your name, your light, or your presence for anyone's comfort. So let's dive in. What is the difference between attraction and alignment? You see, a high value woman knows there is a world of difference between attraction and alignment. Attraction is easy. It's chemistry, charm, energy, but alignment is sacred. Alignment is spiritual. Alignment is when his actions, not just his words, match your desire to be loved. So sis, ask yourself, is his behavior in alignment with the way you want to be loved? Not the words, not the emojis, not the potential, but the actions, the consistency, the investment. Because a high value woman knows, she knows that words can lie, but energy doesn't. And so the high value woman, I ask this question. Are you attached to the message, or are you attached to the messenger? You see, she's not emotionally attached to the messenger. She's spiritually aligned with the message. In other words, she doesn't get caught up in how attractive, charming, or well packaged a man is. She asks, does the package carry the message I'm looking for? And if it doesn't, she doesn't try to force the fit. She doesn't audition for a man who isn't spiritually equipped to carry what her heart desires. She knows that God can send another messenger. She doesn't need to convince someone to become whom she needs. She trusts that alignment will come when she's honest about her needs and in surrender to her worth. So don't mistake the message to match your desires with the messenger. Some of you all get too caught up with the messenger. And what more of a high value woman? Love or labor? You see, if you find yourself constantly repeating your needs to a man, if you're always explaining why your feelings matter, that's not love. That's labor. That's work. That's you in your head. That's masculine energy. You see, a high value woman understands you should not have to repeat yourself to be respected. She doesn't stay stuck trying to train a man to understand her love language. Oh no. She simply states what she needs with grace, with clarity, without drama, and then she observes. And if he doesn't respond with alignment, she walks. Not because she's cold, but because she's clear. And what of time? Well, let's just say that time versus investment. Let's look at that. You see, time spent does not equal value received. You see, a man can spend hours with you and still not invest in you. A man can text you every day and still not build with you. And I can see some of your ladies in my mind's eye nodding. A man can lay in your bed and still not choose you. You see, the high value woman knows to ask, in the time we've spent together, has he actually invested? Not just emotionally, but practically. Does he show up? Does he follow through? Is he moving in the same direction with intentionality and care? So don't get confused. Time with investment. And let's look about truth. Let's look into the truth about heartbreak. You see, when you miss someone, ask yourself, are you missing the man or the version of love you thought he would bring? Let that land. You see, heartbreak isn't always about the person. It's often about the potential. And here's the truth. Being in love with potential is like being in love with an illusion. We fall for the vision, not the reality. We grieve not what was, but what we imagined could be. We grieve how we felt around what was but is no more. So now ask yourself, is your mind still tied to someone who has already untied himself from you? Are you still shackled to him? I would advise you to deshackle and row your boat gently down the stream. You see, that man may have stopped choosing you, stopped showing up, and stopped answering. And you're still hoping he'll one day remember how amazing you are. Maybe it's about time you start showing up for yourself and remind yourself how amazing you are. And fill your cup up with all that makes you feel good. Your aspirations, your desires, your talents, your gifts. And radiate and shine so bright that you attract in that which is aligned with your vibration. You know, sometimes we go through periods of silence, not just in heartbreak. And silence is communication. Let's talk about one of the most painful forms of communication: silence. You see, when someone leaves your messages unread for days, it's not an accident. It's a decision that they have made on their part. That's not confusion. That's communication. They are saying you are not a priority. And yes, I know that hurts. But part of healing is facing the truth. If he wanted to, he would. You've heard it before, and it's still true. So, exhale, shoulders back. Hold your head up high. No more excuses. No more clinging to crumbs. You're not a beggar at the table of love. You are the table. You see, when you lose yourself, he loses sight of you. Here's something women don't hear enough. When a man is first attracted to you, he's attracted to the you who is rooted, radiant, and real. However, if you lose yourself, if you lose the you that he was attracted to in the relationship, and you start playing smaller, overgiving, overcompensating, or abandoning your essence, losing yourself, he loses the very thing he was drawn to in the first place. He can't see the you he was attracted to anymore. Not because you're not there, but because you're no longer carrying the message, you see, that's aligned with him. You see, it's not the messenger, it's the message. And we know this is true because when you can no longer feel good around that person, the messenger is still present, but the message, the package that was brought to you, that made you feel that divine way, that made you feel good in your essence, is no longer there. And so it's about the message. So stay grounded in you. Keep your vibe. Don't lose your light to hold on to a man who was only ever meant to reflect it back to you. The you that focuses on you. And what about powerful, not pleasing? Powerful, not pleasing. What am I speaking about here? I'm talking about communicating like a high value woman. You see, when it comes to communicating with men, a high value woman doesn't need water. She doesn't water herself down to be palatable. She doesn't whisper her needs or rehearse soft landings so she won't ruffle feathers. No, she speaks from her center. Like a palm tree that is rooted. Yes, the wind may blow, but she is rooted. And from her center, she doesn't make demands out of fear. She makes statements rooted in self-worth. And so, instead of sounding like a complaint, why don't you ever call me? She stands in clarity and says, I value communication. And if that's not something you're consistent with, we may not be aligned. See the shift? One sounds needy, the other is neutral, powerful, and non-attached. She speaks up, not with rage, not with sarcasm, but with centered honesty. I felt dismissed when you brushed off what I said earlier. I value feeling heard in a relationship. That's it. No over-explaining, no hoping he reads her silence, no paragraphs, just truth delivered calmly. No drama. And when it comes to boundaries, she lets her tone do the talking. She doesn't try to control outcomes. She reveals her standards and lets him reveal whether he's able to meet them. If he's inconsistent or disrespectful, she doesn't argue. She removes her presence. And that's silence. It's not passive-aggressive. It's intentional. It's her highest form of self-respect. Even when it comes to confrontation, she doesn't attack. She doesn't internalize. She says, when that happened, I felt. She addresses the behavior. She doesn't attack the character. She says, when that happened, I felt. Not you made me feel, because that difference turns a fight into a conversation. And if it comes to letting someone go, she doesn't crumble. She simply says, I don't chase people. If this connection matters to you, show up for it. If not, I'm okay letting it go. I'll walk away. That's not drama, that's direction. That's the energy of a woman who knows what she carries. She doesn't need to convince anyone of her value. She embodies it. And finally, this gem. Reacting versus responding. You see, reacting comes from fear. Responding comes from self-trust, from self-validation. You see, when you know your value, you stop reacting to every breadcrumb, ghost, or silence. You respond with boundaries, with clarity, with trust in your divine timing. Because healing doesn't begin when he shows up. Healing begins when you show up for yourself. When you show up, not for him, but for yourself. When you honor yourself. And my sweethearts, that is it for today's episode. I am Valerie Alaeve Campbell. Yes, full name this time. You'll be hearing it a lot more because I've stepped even deeper into my flow. And my heart had to break open to expose this level of truth. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to check out my book, She's Got That Vibe, How a Strong Independent Woman Attracts Her Mr. Right. It's available now on Amazon. And it's packed with the kinds of insights that help you move from chasing potential to standing fully in your power. And if you're based in London, you can always reach out directly to me. I have copies at home and I'd love to post it out to you. I'd love to connect with you directly. You know, message me on my business WhatsApp line at 07399787424. That's 07399787424 with the words, please add me to the Conscious Dating Lounge. And I will personally welcome you into our WhatsApp community where we go even deeper with inspiration, real talk, and sisterhood. And just before I go, I've got something special in the works. My next book is on the horizon. It's called The Truth of Tind. That's spelled T-I-N-D. It's an abbreviation for There Is No Difference. The Truth of There Is No Difference. Based on a spiritual revelation, a spiritual download that I had when I was in my early 20s. And while I won't say too much just yet, let's just say it's going to shift your perspective in ways you didn't even see coming. Written under my full name, Valerie Alaeve Campbell. It's a journey, one you won't want to miss. And so, I hope that you've enjoyed your time with me today. If you loved what you heard, share it, share it, share it. And until next time.